Good afternoon. Today I will be diving into animal welfare and ethics. A bit about me and why animal welfare is important to me. My name is Kaylee Zangambanda, a 21-year-old new graduate with a diploma in veterinary nursing who was born and raised in Durban, South Africa. Growing up in a third world country has significantly impacted my perspective on animal welfare and made it a crucial topic as I've been exposed to the interconnectedness that animal welfare and health have on the physical, mental, spiritual, and social well-being of humans, which has a domino effect onto public health, ecosystems, and economic strain. Therefore, I believe it is paramount that we display our humanity, morals, and values by ensuring that animals receive ethical and humane treatment while minimizing every ounce of suffering we can to achieve vitality and enable every sector of life to flourish. As a veterinary professional, I strongly believe that it is my responsibility to be an advocate for animal ethics and welfare. Not only are we at the forefront of reinforcing, providing, and setting examples of high quality and ethical care, but we are also bearers of extensive scientific knowledge and a source of education that extends to the wider community and has the power to make an influential change. Being an advocate supports and enforces legislation and laws that work to protect and minimize suffering. It also encourages guardians to make evidence based and well informed ethical decisions that prioritize their animals' welfare. Promoting animal welfare contributes to research and advancements within the industry and upholds professional integrity by adhering to the NZVNA Professional Code of Conduct, which states that as an allied veterinary professional, it is my responsibility to always ensure that animal welfare is a primary consideration. My presentation encompasses how animal ethics and contemporary welfare science intersect in New Zealand. Conflicts and challenges to do with advocating for welfare. How contemporary welfare science impacts the responsibility of people involved. What knowledge I have gained and how I'm going to apply it. How my new knowledge can be used to advocate for animal welfare. Animal ethics and contemporary welfare science intersect in New Zealand through the recognition of animals as sentient beings with intrinsic value. Both of these perspectives overlap as they assert that animals are capable of perceiving pain, pleasure, and various emotions, thus, all areas of health should be catered for, emphasizing the moral obligation to minimize suffering and promote holistic health. In New Zealand, there is a deep sense of interconnectedness influenced by Māori cultural views of kaitiakitanga and Māori ora, which promote the concept of the interconnectedness of all living beings, the balance of life force for vitality, and our responsibility to care for the environment, people, and animals, which align with the animal ethics and contemporary welfare science. The intersection is also seen through concepts of one health, one welfare, and Te Ao Māori, which aim to sustainably balance the health of people, animals, and ecosystems while acknowledging the interconnectedness of the human-animal bond guided by Māori cultural views. The five domains model is considered to be more contemporary in the field of animal welfare science, as John Webster, the creator of it, explains. The five domains approach provides an effective foundation for research and evidence-based conclusion as to the impact of the things we do on the mental state of animals in our care. However, this intersects with the animal ethics as by inclusion of the psychological domain, we can assess an animal's response to how they are treated and reinforce morals of respect and care. A good life framework provides a positive welfare focus to establish individual preference and choice. This aligns with contemporary welfare science as the discipline of examining and understanding an animal's experience in the world is studied, while it aligns with animal ethics as it promotes experiences that promote positive experiences for an animal, meaning that they are treated morally and ethically correctly. These concepts intersect in a good life framework as they simultaneously seek to ensure that animals have the opportunity to experience positive states and have overall good shift of good well-being, ultimately fulfilling animal ethics and contemporary welfare science. Animal Welfare Act 1999 is the primary animal welfare legislation that sets out legal minimum standards of care in alignment with scientific knowledge and good practice. The duty of care reflects both ethical obligations to treat animals with respect and humanely, as well as the incorporation of scientific standards to ensure their health, which is where we see a clear intersection. Advocating for welfare is a multifaceted issue. It is such a closely intertwined and wicked problem due to multiple actors playing a role in it and no clear understanding of who is complicit in the supply chain and who is not. For example, cows and mud. Many organizations, such as banks, farmers, drivers, fertilizer companies, government, consultants, etc., play a role in the problem. There may be parties within the chain that are unhappy and understand the negative impacts, but cannot make a change because they do not know who to go to or how to approach the problem. There are many families and communities that rely on the income from these complex situations. The rate of change as compared to animal welfare knowledge. Changing laws, acts, and legislations is an intense process that requires extensive research, time, and background work. Change can also be a very big challenge as there is comfort in what we know and how operations have been performed for decades. Gaps in regulations and inconsistent enforcement can result in animal welfare efforts being disregarded. A lack of education about animal welfare prevents many people from partaking and advocating for change. The Animal Welfare Act 1999 provides legal minimum standards instead of pushing for best practices such as a good life framework or the 5 domains, which results in the challenge of advocating for high standards of welfare. We often assess animals' welfare as a collective instead of individually, which prevents us from promoting each animal having a good life. A social license to operate is an intangible agreement between the public and an industry group. It shapes welfare perspectives as it is based on the societal acceptance of a particular activity that is deemed ethically and socially acceptable. Disapproval may threaten it continuing in the future. This creates a construct of what a high standards of animal welfare entail by either whistleblowers within the industry or advocates pushing to advocate for the wider community. Contemporary welfare science impacts the responsibility of people involved and in charge of animals such as pet owners, farmers, livestock handlers, and zookeepers by incorporating ethical considerations, scientific knowledge, and practical applications to construct legal minimum standards of care, such as the 5 Freedoms Animal Welfare Act 1999 and Codes of Welfare for Different Species. This provides a legal framework in which careful construction of what is required from owners, such as diet, shelter, behavior, health, transportation, and techniques that can be applied to minimize distress during handling and informed care based on scientific knowledge. It impacts the responsibility of veterinary professionals' duty of care, as it reinforces and provides legal obligations for veterinarians to adhere to achieve high welfare standards. Veterinarians are regulated by the Veterinary Act 2005, Agricultural Compounds and Veterinary Medicine Act 1997, Misuse of Drugs Act 1975, Radiation Protection Act 1965, Privacy Act 2021, and many others. The primary legislation ensures that veterinarians are competent to practice, with a legally enforceable code of professional conduct that states vets must comply with the Animal Welfare Act 1999 and take action to protect the needs of animals regarding the 5 Freedoms. The Veterinary Council of New Zealand states that veterinarians must promote positive animal welfare and alleviate suffering. And for veterinarians to be positioned as animal welfare science experts, they need to have a holistic and contemporary understanding of how it can be scientifically assessed. They must be motivated to engage with the wider animal welfare disciplines and empowered to act as experts in their daily lives. Vets must also ensure that their co-workers understand the Animal Welfare Act and Codes of Welfare, which is my responsibility. However, it is not legally enforceable against me as I am not regulated. As an allied veterinary professional, contemporary welfare science impacts my duty of care by promoting me to fulfill the NZVNA Guide to Professional Conduct to uphold high welfare standards. During this course, I have gained an immense amount of knowledge, a profound connection between my new perspectives, my life experiences, values, and personal philosophy that I identified which resonates with me deeply would be Peter Singer's perspective on utilitarianism and effective altruism. Peter Singer promotes the socio-political construct of the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people, which underpins my belief that this is the measure of ethical behavior and guidance to establish the betterment of society as a whole. The belief in effective altruism from Singer is that people should not only try to reduce suffering, but reduce it in the most effective manner possible. This shapes my philosophy and approach to advocating for animal welfare, as it provides constructive, measurable criteria to establish if animal welfare is being promoted as effectively as possible. The importance of human behavior change in advocating for animal welfare is an integral element that I had zero knowledge of before this course. We are constantly told that using numbers and data when educating others makes a difference, but I have learned that data bombing and shouting at each other is the most ineffective tool through expert Heather Bray. The two main functions of human behavior change are to understand why someone does or does not perform certain behaviors, and to provide the tools to develop evidence-based interventions to change behavior. The elements that are needed to create change are capability, motivation, and opportunity, which are linked to behavior. Scientists have discovered that to drive change, we need to create narratives that speak to people's values. This shapes how I advocate for animal welfare in aspects such as utilizing the nudge theory, giving people the freedom of choice among options, using careful language and scientific communication to effectively promote positive change. I have been able to dive into the depths of selective breathing and ethical dilemmas surrounding this. I have learned what a truly wicked problem it is, considering how closely interlinked it is. There is no sole body responsible for breeding of animals with extreme features, as everyone plays a part in it. However, it is not easy to eradicate the problem due to the absence of regulations and laws around this in New Zealand. Source of income and business for many, ignorance and lack of education, supply and demand, and multiple parties promoting the desire of unhealthy traits. I'm using this to approach my advocacy for animal welfare by continuing my education and expanding my knowledge into pushing for change and stricter laws against unethical breeding in New Zealand, which the National Animal Welfare Advisory Committee states. There is a culture change that sees particular traits as desirable, undesirable, solely for aesthetic reasons, which aligns significantly with my philosophy of pushing this out of society. My new knowledge can be used to advocate for animal welfare to deliver effective patient outcomes by promoting holistic and individualized care for all patients, intersecting animal ethics and contemporary welfare science through routinely implementing 5-domain model and a good life framework when assessing a patient. This enables me to provide a comprehensive and holistic approach to patient care, delivering optimal outcomes and animal welfare. Promoting animal welfare through education seminars, courses, discussions with owners, and collaborative works with organizations such as National Animal Welfare Advisory Committee and the SPCA, which work towards advancements and upholding high standards of welfare. This will contribute to the professional and social culture, as more people will actively be interested and educated. Actively engaging in conversations and not being afraid to step outside my comfort zone with my new knowledge is a priority to drive change. I will utilize my knowledge regarding scientific communication, nudge theory, and the use of language when engaging with clients to ensure that I apply my evidence-based practice for optimal welfare outcomes. In conclusion, contemporary welfare science and animal ethics intersect significantly in New Zealand across multiple frameworks and legislations. Advocating for animal welfare is a multifaceted, in-depth, and complicated issue, but with determination and perseverance, change can be made. I have gained an immense amount of knowledge through this course that I will apply into my career going forward, and my biggest takeaway is to not let silence prevail regarding animal welfare. As a veterinary nurse, I believe it is our responsibility and duty to be at the forefront of change for animal welfare by collectively stepping outside of our comfort zone into a leadership role, pushing for change, and educating as many people as possible. This will bring a positive change not only for our beloved pets, but for our ecosystems, people, communities, and our planet. Thank you for watching.